Hey everyone, welcome to this completely unnecessary podcast. Hey, for January 16th, 2018 on a Tuesday. That's Ian Ferguson.
Hello, we've got some mood lighting.
And I'm Pat Contry. We'll be talking about someone marrying Tetris, Hyperkin Ultra Game Boy, the NES Maker Kickstarter, the Nintendo Direct, which would lead us off, and Patreon Q&A, and Ian and I we're gonna be at the SoCal Retro Gaming Expo this weekend.
That's damn right.
And that's a big deal because Ian's never dragged himself to this convention 2 hours away. This is going to be January 20th and 21st at SoCal, RetroGamingExpo.com for more information. It's in City of Industry, California. Save 15% on tickets with code CUPodcast. And there's going to be dozens of arcade machines to play and pinball machines. You're going to have free play consoles, cosplay contests. You're going to have panels, dozens of retro gaming vendors. You're going to have people like my pal, Andre Meadows, my semi-pal gaming historian, Norm. You're going to have, well, Ian's going to be there with Vonnie in tow.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have those lovable Game Chasers, 8-Bit Eric. You're also going to have James Roll for the first time at a Southern California gaming convention.
Well, that'll be fun.
Did you not know he was coming?
No.
Oh.
That's going to be awesome.
Well, yeah. So that's going to be fun. So again, go to SoCalRetroGamingExpo.com. Use code CUPodcast to save on tickets. And we'll see you there, maybe with new T-shirts in tow.
Yeah.
New podcast T-shirts. And Ian might have
some boxes full of stuff, like bad bird drawings for you. That was the joke on Twitter. People wanted the bad bird drawings. That was the one thing.
So yeah, anyway, Ian, what's been going on with you?
I've talked about it mostly on Twitter if I need to. That's the big thing. And then as far as that, I've been marathoning Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's been a lot of fun.
What were we talking about on Twitter? I don't follow whatever you say on Twitter.
You already
does
know,
all the audience.
You know what I'm talking about.
Does the listening audience know? Do you know how to do like a radio/podcast show? You explained theater of the mind to everyone?
I'm coming off of medication. I've been on it for a long time. I've been on it for 13 years.
Okay.
It's addictive.
You also shaved.
I did shave.
It goes hand in hand. I miss clean shaven.
Well, there was a part to that. It was like, I was just like, all right, well, now I need to do something to, distract myself for 15 minutes. So I shaved. And I shaved too close.
I think, what are you too close? I think you should go clean shaven. You should go back to the short hair look.
When I lose some weight, my face is fat. My face is the first thing to get fat.
So on the SoCal announcement, they used a picture of us with your short hair.
Oh yeah, I was.
That's
way
like
young.
from 2000, late 2013. It looked like, or early 2014.
Yeah,
that was a while ago.
Well, it's like
that was 3 years ago.
It's like I told someone 3 years ago I was 10 years younger. Illness has taken its toll.
Wow, we both looked younger in that picture.
Yeah,
you looked very fresh with your. That was definitely hipster Ian. I know you like me to say that, but that was definitely
it was me trying to grow my hair out longer.
But that was a perfect length. It was a nice coif going on.
No, I didn't want that. Anyways,
I'm looking very pecky in that picture. So
yeah, so anyways, I've been watching a lot of TV.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you said?
Brooklyn Nine-Nine, more Huelhauser.
More Huelhauser MD?
I'm not MD.
Is that related to Doogie?
Just the guy.
That's not in the canon?
I think if I ever really start something on online, if I ever start filming anything, it'll be my buddy and I emulating Huelhauser in our late 30s, early 40s.
Oh, okay. Maybe you can broadcast it on Twitch.
Maybe
live. You can get some of that Twitch sweet revenue that we should be getting this year once we start doing that.
Louie, look over here.
Damn you, PlayStation controller commercial. It's very tiring. We don't usually do a podcast this late anymore. I'm getting old. So so my place is a disaster. My house. So this is like nighttime at Ian's right now. That's why it kind of looks weird. Yeah. So we're probably gonna do one more podcast here. Then hopefully we're gonna do the soft reboot at the studio.
And we're gonna lay out all the porn books for the last one.
You know, when I moved, I actually found my 16-year-old porn, like stuff I bought when I was 16. I found like the box of the porn mags.
Now, these are ones Vonnie and I bought recently.
Oh, but not to go off on a tangent, but I didn't know what was in the magazines until opening page, and like it just flooded back. Like, oh my god, I remember her. I remember that. Like it was really like Total Recall.
That's crazy.
It was nuts
because those early ones those early sets really burn their place in your mind.
Well, I remembered like this kind of like the sets once I saw them, but I couldn't recount like what was in what magazine until I saw it. I was like, because when you're 16, you're looking at shit every day. Like that's what you have.
Yeah.
Kind of before the interwebs having decent.
5 times a day. You have your favorites.
5 times. Okay. Well, that's. I hope you're hydrating. So anyway.
Hydration's always been important.
So anyway, that's what's going on. I'm gonna start on Twitch as soon as the studio's up and running. I gotta get the games up on the shelves. They're all on the ground right now. We'll get more into that a little bit later. I like the shirt. Like the shirt.
Oh yeah, Vonnie was really happy with your shirt.
My ex gave it to me, so thank you for that. So we're gonna roll on. So Ian.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Nintendo had a kind of a surprise direct with like 24 hours of notice. It was kind of funny. They had the little flaming image of whatever the hell that thing was. I don't know what was that flaming image they put up.
I didn't see it.
Nintendo just tweeted this image of the thing on fire. And someone's gonna say, Pat, you don't know anything about games, and correct me. But they did a Nintendo Direct.
Okay, I wish I had seen the image so I could tell you if it's something you should have known or not. But I didn't. So
I'll put it down there while you talk.
Okay.
Blow the 8.
Blow the ape.
Blow the 8.
Blow the ape. Oh, I thought you said blow the ape because I'm looking at. Never mind, Donkey Kong. So, anyways, dude, it fit. It was right there. I mean, I wasn't even looking for a joke. It made sense. I thought that's what
it would have been a good joke if the audience could have seen what you're referring to.
Yeah. So, I mean, anyways. So, the Direct was pretty cool. Things were announced. I'm looking at the GameSpot article. I'm going to, run through these real quick. And then we'll talk about a topic that is divisive. We've got The World Ends With You coming out, which is a DS port of a game that many people like. I've never played it. Most people I know think that is a crucifiable offense on my part. They seem to think I would like it a lot. So I probably will play it when it comes out for this. One of the main reasons I didn't want to was that it requires a lot of stylus movement, and I didn't want to fuck up my touchscreen. It's true. Pokémon Tournament DX, which added some fighters from the arcade edition. I'm not lying.
I know you're not lying. It's just silly.
I didn't want to deal with the scratches of a game where I had to constantly go like this back and forth. Pokémon Tournament is getting DLC with two new fighters and 2 new support sets, including Blastoise as a fighter, which is actually going to be very cool, I think. We're getting Kirby Star Allies. I love Kirby. Kirby's the best. That ant dude guy loves Kirby too, so that's why we get along. Dragon Quest Builders, which has been on the PS4, and I believe Xbox One. No, maybe not Xbox One, but the Vita is gonna hit at the end of January. That's kind of like Dragon Quest meets Minecraft. Hyrule Warriors, which is fantastic and got an even cooler edition on the 3DS, but with less fidelity in the graphics, is coming out in an Ultimate Edition for the Switch with
Definitive Edition,
all of the DLC, and
Definitive Edition
from both definitive, with all of the DLC from both the Wii U and the 3DS versions. And I'm assuming all the enhancements that were on the 3DS versions as well, like how you would swap on the map, and 2-player multiplayer. That's going to be huge. Mario Tennis. I freaking love Mario Tennis, and this one will have a story mode.
Let's back up a little bit. So the Hyrule Warriors is going to be big, especially since it's going to be, a year after Breath of the Wild, and you get your fresh taste of, even though it's not true Legend of Zelda game.
Well, we're gonna get to that.
Get a taste.
We're gonna get to that because So, especially on that one, the new Mario Tennis will have a story mode for the first time since GBA. I love the Mario games that Camelot's done, and the Mario sports games that Camelot's done. The tennis one will be great.
Do you think that'll be a huge hit, or just like a nice little niche little?
After they kind of dropped the ball on it the past couple of times, I don't know if people are going to be so willing to jump in, but I have a feeling it's going to be at least a sleeper hit with the addition of the story mode.
Well, when did the Wii U Mario Tennis game come out?
No one remembers because no one cares.
So okay, so basically these are like, if you haven't played it, it's new to you.
Well, this one is genuinely brand new.
So this is not gonna. This is okay.
I haven't even gotten into the.
It's only been a few years since the last Mario Tennis game, according to this.
Yeah, like 2. I haven't even gotten into the re-releases part yet.
Well, the Hyrule Warriors, kind of.
I haven't talked about it yet.
All right.
SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy. I wish I could be more excited about this, but it looks like a cheesecake cash-in. I do like cheesecake. I love it, but I want this to be a good game as well. We will see. It seems oversimplified.
Payday 2.
Mario Rabbids DLC, excellent. Payday 2? Well, maybe I'll actually fucking try the game. Fan Celeste. Oh, EA is supporting the Switch with 2 downloadable titles. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is fantastic. I think it's one of the best games on the Wii U. It was horribly underrated. Great to see it coming. And Dark Souls Remastered on the 25th. It'll be interesting to see how that plays on the Switch, and a portable version of the first Dark Souls would be great. As far as Dark Souls goes, I really like Demon Souls and Dark Souls the best as the series went on. I kind of lost interest. So what's important here, I think, is that there's a lot of people who are upset about ports being announced for the Switch. Not everyone is as hardcore as thou. It's what I'm
No
talking.
one bought the Wii U, people.
I did, and
The general
you did,
no one.
but
No one bought all the games for it.
A lot of people didn't, and actually, it was funny because over the winter holiday, when people had off and we had more people over at our house around Christmas time, New Year's. I was kind of, I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was Ed when he was in town. I was shooting the shit with someone about how if they were going to do a re-release, I would love for Tropical Freeze to be a re-release.
Okay.
Because it's a fantastic game that was even fairly under the radar when the Wii came out. Like, it was popular at the time because there weren't that many games, but light Wii U adopters never bought it. And it's so good, I wanted people to be able to play it, and here we are. Same thing with Hyrule Warriors. Hear me out. The Wii U version was not definitive by any means. The 3DS version added a ton to the game that really fleshed it out, but it really only ran on a new 3DS. So the original 3DSs weren't really powerful enough to handle it. It would run at like 11 frames per second. So these are good. The basic idea is here. No one bought the Wii U. If you did, congratulations. But these are going to be brand new games for so many more people.
So what's so divisive about this?
Well, there are people who don't want to rebuy the same game.
Then don't rebuy it. Play it on your Wii U. What's the big deal?
Oh, well, we want people to play it with. Well, you know what? You don't need to really play something like Tropical Freeze with someone, so don't rebuy it.
I was going to say.
I think there's a compulsive nature in people that makes them think they have to rebuy these games.
Well, it is a portable version of it, so for that, it's pretty cool.
That's cool. But like Hyrule Warriors, if you've already bought all the DLC for the 3DS version, then you have the ultimate version if you have a new 3DS. You don't need it.
I never see a problem with giving a consumer more choice versus what they had before. No one's it's not like at this point in time, I think the Switch library is as robust as it could be, only 10 months in to its life.
It's insane.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, and I mean things like Payday 2, okay, that's a port, but that's a port. I mean, they've been porting that game since 2013, I think, 2014. Everything's got a port on it. If you didn't expect Payday 2 to get a port to the Switch, I'm honestly surprised and disappointed in you. And I mean, it's also never been on a Nintendo system or a handheld. So these are things that I don't look at as bad. I want to see some new games, and I'm seeing a Mario Tennis with a story mode, which actively I'm on top of. We're getting updates to Super Mario Odyssey.
I was gonna say you didn't mention that. Yeah, Balloon Mode with Luigi showing up. That's pretty cool.
We're getting DLC for some of the best games from last year in the first half of the year. We're getting ports that were huge on other systems that are. It's continuing to show the power of the Switch, so that other companies may jump on. Look, if From sees that the Dark Souls port does well, that opens up a lot of other stuff. Plus, Kirby Star Allies is a brand new game, and there's just. World Ends With You at this point is I don't even know how many years old. That's gonna be a new generation of people who can play it.
Nintendo is in a position they were never in with the Wii U, in that they need to put out as many games as they can right now to appease the 10 million people that already have it. They need to get as many games out there of decent quality.
Yeah,
and that's what they're trying to do. And I think they're doing a pretty good job. Did you hear about the Super Meat Boy sales?
No.
The fucking gangbusters for a game that's like almost 8 years old.
Really?
Like insane.
And I love Super Meat Boy. You know why? It's just...
But this is the point, though. The sales, in theory, shouldn't be that good on a game 8 years old, but people want any game on the Switch. That's quality.
No, I still think people are a little reluctant to admit it, but it's the simple, I can play it on my TV or I can pick it up and go. And I don't know that anyone really wants to admit that it's that simple. That's what makes these versions of games on the Switch sell so well.
So according to Team Meat, they said, I don't know if I'm allowed to give out specific numbers, but I can say that for Team Meat, the Super Meat Boy Switch made more money on its day one than our Xbox Live Arcade launch on October 20, 2010.
That's insane, and that game was hyped to the moon for the launch in 2010.
I don't know, maybe there's something to do with the fact that they get a bigger cut, but that almost sounds like it sold more overall. But that's nuts. Well, that's absolutely nuts.
My friend and his team who worked on it just released their game, Super Meat Boy, or not Super Meat Boy, Gunhouse, which is like a puzzle / tower defense type game. It's hard to explain. And I told him, I said, this is going to be gangbusters, because the Switch's indie scene, the indie game scene on the download store, at least for right now, is not very diluted. It's like the exact opposite of what the Wii U and Wii Store and what was it? DS Lite. The DS, not the DS Lite, the one after it. The fuck?
3DS?
No, the one in between.
In between
the camera. Between the DS Lite and...
Oh, DSi.
DSi. Yeah, Jesus Christ. It was so pointless and short-lived, but it was the one that introduced the store.
Okay.
There's almost no shovelware on that thing. On the Switch's digital store, almost all the games are good. So people will literally just buy games that show up on it because they're like, well, it's on the Switch store. It's probably good. It's a great marketplace.
According to this Kotaku article, the Switch version of Shovel Knight sold better than any other versions at launch, according to Yacht Club Games. Wonder Boy Dragon's Trap, Forma 8, and other games have seen similar success.
Yep.
SMG Studios noted that in September, Death Squared sold more on the Switch in the first 3 days than on all other platforms it released on combined.
I'm not surprised.
Same thing happened to the Zelda-like exploration game Ocean Horn. And then Steam World Dig 2 sold 10 times more on Switch than on Steam. This is a big deal because this means that people are actually, unlike the Wii U, you're going to get on, yeah, Pat, you bought it. I bought 2 games for the Wii U. So people are using the Switch enough that they need to buy several games already. 10 games. Like, people are constantly looking for new stuff to buy. That's the difference.
I have a lot of physical games for the Switch, but I also have a ton of download games. The download library is just that nice. Anyway, I'm excited. We kind of got off track.
Physical version of Super Meat Boy and Switch is supposed to arrive as well at some point, and that'll do great as well.
Yeah, I'll buy that. I won't rebuy it digitally, but I don't own a single physical copy of Super Meat Boy, and I'm pretty sure Nicholas will publish that, and they always come with fun goodies. So
There you go. So Nintendo's doing all right, and we'll see if by 1 year in they'll pass the Wii U total sales. It's going to be close, for sure.
I thought they beat the Wii U.
No,
already. Oh,
no, they got fastest selling U.S. system in a year.
no, okay. That's true. All right. So next up, let's talk about porn. Who doesn't love porn? What was there a better intro?
There must have been. Let's talk about porn, Ian.
We're talking about porn, Patrick. I mean, I don't know why I have to act like your dad when I'm saying that, but Patrick, we're gonna talk about pornography.
I mean, that's what's so funny about it. I'm in a sex ed class now.
So originally I thought this was overall, but of course it couldn't be overall. This is just for video game characters. But if anyone was curious, the rankings are in for Pornhub's searches for video game characters of 2017. Not surprisingly to me, I don't know how much Pat pays attention to video game porn. I pay a lot of attention to it.
He's a connoisseur of the scene.
It's just a hobby of mine. Quite frankly, a lot of this is never really good enough for a fucking solid spank.
I have seen the CG animated.
Yeah, it's just
porn stuff.
It's like a 20-second loop over and over.
It's a loop over and over, and from what I've seen, the voices and moans don't match what's going on. So you really got to try to imagine it being erotic. At that
we've
point.
talked about it before to an extent with Overwatch before. It's all done in I think Gary's mod or something.
Hand's
like
gonna be the table for this segment.
And it was like SWF is Flash. It's like, I don't know. It has a weird extension. It has its own term. Anyways,
so Overwatch was number one.
Overwatch, far and away number one,
with the characters.
3 characters in the lead: Diva, Mercy, and Tracer.
So Tracer, I know enough that I know what Tracer is, the British one with the goggles.
Australia.
Yeah, I'm in the ballpark. I know that one. What are the other two?
Okay, Diva is the
Overwatch.
I believe she's she's the Korean player who has the mech. She's really good at StarCraft. That's her part of her lore. And then Gremlin Diva was the big thing where she was because she's portrayed with Doritos and Mountain Dew.
I'm looking at it right now. I did a search and it came up.
All right.
You have the Overwatch Ultimate Diva collection. I guess that's a collection.
All right.
Of stuff. And what the fuck? Okay.
Bunch of loops. Probably her robot.
And then the other one is
Mercy. Mercy is the healer.
Mercy.
She's like an angel.
Overwatch. And let's see what comes up here. Point of view sound. SFM.
SFM. That's it. Thank you.
So these get a lot of views. They
get tons.
This one
has
has 221,000. This one, the Winged Victory Mercy Overwatch Blender animation with sound, 882,000 views. That's a lot of spanks.
And if you ever saw
a lot of spanks,
and the thing
one has over 1 million.
Right. So that's the thing. If you were to
3 million,
there you are. It's a lot of babies.
It's a lot of babies is dead.
It's a lot of babies with no homes.
Well, so okay. Do we have a larger point to this besides that we know that a lot of people want this stuff?
I mean, we kind of did this last year, and we're doing it again this year.
Wait, hold on a second. We're missing out on something here.
The Pokemon aspect.
Yeah, okay.
So
Pokemon's Misty, 2.6 million.
Yeah, that's kind of gross.
Beat off competition. That's clever article.
Yeah, clever article. Also, Misty's like 12.
Is she really?
I mean, in the games, yeah. She's young.
All right, I'm not comfortable searching that. I want the FBI coming after me.
I mean, yeah, it's weird.
It's animated, so it's technically not illegal, but that's still kind of weird.
Let's talk about the actual Pokemon.
Wait, okay, let's do that.
So they actually do bring in, let's see.
There's Pikachu porn?
Yeah, Pikachu porn.
I'm afraid to search, but
that's weird. But Gardevoir.
What the fuck?
Gardevoir? I mean, just search it.
Okay. When you search Pikachu, you get animated Pikachu, which is disturbing. But then you get people in the costumes.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird. Okay, it's kind of cute with the girl in the costume. That's like kind of a normal
I mean, that's
thing.
fine. That's like a Kigurumi.
It gets fucking bizarre. Yeah, I'm kind of out at this point for some of these. Okay. All right, I'm out.
Do a search for Gardevoir.
Gardevoir?
Gardevoir. Yeah, Gardevoir.
Not God of War.
Gardevo.
All right, let's see.
IR.
Let's see what this looks like here.
I wasn't surprised to see this was the big creature one.
What the fuck?
It's like a plant girl.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
There you go.
472,000 views. Hentai. Hottest Gardevoir animation loop. Okay.
The hottest one.
The hottest one.
The hottest.
There's one with just pics. Like this. Yeah, not for me, that one. But
Okay.
fortunately,
Here's
Lara Croft's there still.
So let's go over a couple of these. Let's just run them down
Lara
real
Croft's
quick.
still there.
From coast to coast, from north to south, Diva, Mercy, Tracer, Misty, Lara Croft,
Woo!
Zelda,
All right.
Melina. I'm
All right.
gonna talk about that in a second.
That's surprising.
We're gonna talk about that. Melina, Widowmaker. See, now I would have thought
Or
Widowmaker from Overwatch would have probably beaten out Mercy.
Okay.
Dawn from Pokemon. Ash from Pokemon, the male representation in the Spank Bank. Sombra from Overwatch. Serena from Pokemon. Gardevoir. Katana from Mortal Kombat.
Well,
Farah from Overwatch. And Pikachu from Pokemon. Here's what's weird to me. I wanted to bring this up. Melina is over Katana from Mortal Kombat. Yet Melina's mouth is just all big fangs.
and she's above Katana. She's the evil one though, so that
She's
maybe
the
that's
evil one with
Yeah.
the monster mouth. But here's the thing: I would search for Melina over Katana.
why, because it's like it's more taboo that she's evil.
I don't know. You finish this segment. I've said the last thing I want to say.
Okay, Melina, Mortal Kombat. What is it? Just the SMFs? Yeah, it is. There's no like
SFMs.
There's no like cosplay porn. It's all just
Probably not.
It's all just loops, like you said, the slow loops. And
I'm just saying the fact that she could rip out my organs is far more attractive.
well, some people are into that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of proud that Lara Croft's still in there, and I guarantee you some of those is cosplay porn, which not just the weird loops that are 3 seconds long.
There's a video that's really popular. It's actually fairly gross. That probably keeps her in the running.
Should I look it up?
Nope.
Just for the research.
Lara
Croft.
Don't do it. It's probably not going to come up right. And don't even try rattling off the creators because I'm not going to acknowledge it one way or another.
I don't see anything that weird. There's an interrogation video. That's live action though.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Well, anyways, we're done.
All right. Before this gets too hot.
Oh yeah. As a matter of fact, my blood has gone ice cold talking about this in this room.
You know, we do this every year. We do at least one porn topic. Didn't we do one like a year or two ago?
I think we did one about a year ago and about a year before that too.
It's fun.
Yep, comes up.
Pornhub's not a bad site. We're going to start uploading there because of the adpocalypse.
Actually, I think Pornhub's a very good site for what they do.
Yeah.
I mean, they plowed streets for free. They donate money to good causes.
They plow streets. They get like the Pornhub like crew out there and start plugging holes.
You didn't see that?
No, I did not see that.
They did it this year and they did it last year when the blizzards got really bad in certain parts of, I think it was Boston. It was we'll plow you for free or something like that.
I get it.
And if enough people called in, like for their neighborhood where the plows hadn't reached, they would send in a Pornhub sponsored plow to plow your streets. And they actually cleared up a pretty good number of streets.
All right then. Good on Pornhub.
And they're good on free birth control and promoting that sort of stuff.
All right, they're giving back to the community.
Oh, they really are. It's weird.
You know, it's sort of like
Cool site.
Yeah. All right, Ian. This is I'm not sure what to make of this one.
Ow.
Florida woman plans to marry Tetris, according to a report. All right, so this is originally via My Nintendo News. All right, Nourul Majabin Hassan, 20-year-old Florida student, has a romantic history. An interesting romantic history, according to this article. Latest fling is with a Tetris NES cartridge. So
yeah,
she prefers to be known as Fractal Tetris Huracan. I'm not sure if first of all, yeah, it has to be Florida, but I'm not sure. It's Florida, so I'm not sure if you can marry an inanimate object in Florida. I'm guessing no, but maybe there'll be a special ceremony.
There might be a internet priest who could do it.
An internet priest?
I should call my dad. I mean,
So
he
her
married Vonnie and I, and
her-
he's an internet priest.
her love for the retro puzzler started in September of last year. So this is a whirlwind romance. This is very quick. She explains, Fractal. It started when I would play this game called Smash Run. I would hear the Tetris theme, and I thought it was nice. Every time I heard it, I would want to play Tetris. All I did was play the game and kept thinking I want to play Tetris. I think Tetris is so beautiful. He is about perfection, and he stimulates your mind. Physically, I get that feeling that people in relationships get, that you know they are the right one. So she's also had a relationship with a calculator named Pierre, and a companion cube from Portal, and an oscilloscope called Braxton. They make oscilloscopes still? Like the giant ones at the swap meet? Like the old ones from the 60s? You can buy a new one? I don't know that. I have no idea.
They're particularly important in sound design. Like they make ones that slot right into the synthesizers I have up front, so you can see the waveform you're shaping.
Have you got to third base with that one yet?
I don't have one. I wish I did.
All right. So this woman is probably troubled in some way. I don't think this is a publicity stunt. What's weird, the weirdest thing to me, I'm not sure how much I want to comment on this, is that the label on the Tetris cartridge is, I mean, heavily damaged.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of that. Likes cuddling with the Tetris cartridge? I don't make that. But that is the worst label of a Tetris cartridge I've ever seen. So, I don't know. Any comments? I don't know where to go with this.
Okay, so I'm going to be the guy. It's odd, but it is a recognized thing.
Condition.
Yeah, condition, whether it's, however you want to look at it. And it seems weird because it's...
Objectophilia? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, objectophilia. They actually talk about it on an episode of We Bare Bears relating to food.
Oh. Educational.
But there's this line, and it might be strange. It's something upstairs, but this almost makes sense to me. She became obsessed. Oh, here it is. I think Tetris is so beautiful, Hassan says. He is about perfection and he stimulates your mind. Physically, I get that feeling that people in relationships get, that they're the right one. It's the stimulating the mind line that gets it. That gets me. It makes me just wonder, when people talk about love and attraction, you get different answers from everyone as to what stimulates that part of their brain that makes them feel an attraction or perhaps an addiction. Is it the brain chemistry? Is it physical attraction? Is it compatibility in bed? Is it sharing of interests? And when I read that line, I was like, I think on this one, maybe I've gotten that tenuous link, maybe that's it. It's interesting. I as a person with a bunch of his own issues, I don't want to comment too much on it, but I mean, it's obviously different. I mean, you can't say it's not, but that line in particular stuck out to me as something I hadn't thought of.
Yeah, it's like you said, it stimulates your mind. It's perfection. Can't really find that in humans, honey. So this might be the best for you if that's your line of thinking about having someone perfect in your life.
Yeah, I'm not saying
that might be part of it. According to the original article was in Metro UK. She said growing up she didn't like humans, like she liked robots and things like that. So my question is, how did the original reporter find this person and decided I'm going to do a story on? That's what I'm trying to find out from the original article. I don't see it there how this came out. Like if this was like a YouTube video or she posted on a forum, and she has like a big Tetris, the T symbol in her bed with her. She owns that. So yeah, this is not an act. She has this condition.
These are things, and yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to say it's not out there, but when reading that article, I was like, oh, interesting. Okay. And then That was the end of the article.
Her quote is, "I'm not doing anyone or anything any harm. What is the issue? They think it's weird.
Truth.
But I asked them to give me
It's not really doing anyone any harm.
I asked them to give me one good reason why I shouldn't date Tetris, and they can't. I don't have a good reason why you shouldn't, but, you know, I don't know what happens 20 years from now or middle age if you regret marrying an inanimate object when you're 20. I don't know. That's all I'm going to say. I have no idea.
What's the difference from some... I mean...
I'm trying not to make light of it too much because obviously this is something
that's the thing. I don't want to make light of it, and honestly, what's the difference other than... what's the difference from someone who falls in love with reading or writing or anything else and just decides never to get married, and that's what they do? What about
you mean I fall in love with the hobby of reading? I don't identify that object though as a sexual object though.
Okay, yeah, it's different, but I'm just saying there are still people who
who take their hobby so seriously.
Who fall for their hobby so seriously that they leave romance out. This obviously has the added step.
This goes into physicality.
But there are dudes in their 50s who are at, the fucking hobby stores with their train conductor hats buying their trains, and they've never gotten married, and it's because they take their hobbies seriously. And honestly, I think model trains are kind of a fucking cool hobby.
Are those trains finding a special tunnel, Ian?
We don't know.
All right, that's a good out. We're going to end it on that one. So this is an interesting... new development. There's always like a Game Boy gadget each year. It seems like it's going to possibly come out.
All right, so Hyperkin is talking about and pushing what the push it. Banana
wanna? Okay. The Hyperkin Ultra Game Boy.
It's the Hyperkin Ultra Game Boy. This thing's interesting to me for a few reasons.
What is it, Ian?
Well, it's a recreation. Essentially, they don't mention it anywhere, but it's a Game Boy Light Plus.
And they show this at CES.
It is essentially what it is. And they showed it at CES. It's an actual portable Game Boy. It's not like their stupid product from last year that I couldn't understand why they made, which was the Game Boy that you slid your phone into.
The Smart Boy.
Yeah, which still required cartridges.
Smart Boy is $50 on Amazon or $40 on Amazon. It doesn't have the greatest reviews, by the way. That was when it was an Android phone you slid in, and you basically had an app to play the game.
And you still
load up the ROMs.
Right.
Or no, you put the cartridge in,
cartridge,
and there was an emulator to play it, and then it's dumb.
It's dumb as fuck, and it's way too expensive. This is an actual Game Boy clone.
All right.
It has an aluminum body, which this article is all like, oh, it's going to take forever to see any damage on this. And it's like, well, no, it's coated in silver paint. You're actually going to see that damage pretty fucking quick, guys. Anyways, so...
That's a little uncalled for, that aggressiveness towards the article writer.
Oh, I mean, the article writer's probably a good person, but it's just like...
LCD backlit display, Ian. Right. That's good.
But the weight should be interesting. I'm just saying, metallic paint is not... It never holds up.
Ian, let them enjoy what they saw at CES.
Okay.
They're in Vegas. They just lost $100 on blackjack right before the writing this
article. But they're drunk on free alcohol. Okay, I get it.
They don't give out that much alcohol at fucking casinos unless you're a high roller. Anyway.
Someone's got a Camelback if they're smart.
All right.
Anyways.
So the backlight looks pretty cool to me.
The backlight is cool because it goes through different colors. The body is aluminum. You can turn it off just like a Game Boy Light. It'll have an in-between switch, I'm assuming.
Rechargeable battery. That's cool.
Yeah, but of only 6 hours, which you get more of out of normal batteries. Okay, fine. So 6-hour rechargeable battery.
USB-C.
Yeah, with USB-C.
Stereo speakers.
I'm getting there, Patrick. The backlight will go through the different colors, so it'll be like all those modded Game Boys.
Oh.
The stereo speakers, though, are what is very interesting. So we've got supposedly durability from the aluminum casing, but we have stereo outs for left and right. People go, why? All the Game Boy games are mono. Well, as this article kind of downplays, there's a huge chiptune community. It's actually a thing, and it's actually a big thing. Most people know about that.
You're very condescending towards Gizmodo, Ian.
I'm not trying to be. I just love the Game Boy, and I feel like
You're a dickhead to Gizmodo.
no, I like Gizmodo, but it's like, I mean, the article. I just feel like some of the ways in which it's worded.
Be happy this is coming out.
Here it is. Aside from appealing to retro gamers, Hyperkin's Ultra Game Boy is also being customized for chiptune musicians who use the classic console to create modern electronic tunes. Yes, it's a thing, and a very popular thing. Okay, congratulations. I mean,
They're letting me know if someone doesn't know that. They're informing us.
maybe it was just the tone.
The tone is the one you put into it. You put your own tone into that. That was a neutral tone, Ian, when you write.
Maybe I really just want to eat a fucking handful of Klonopin right now. That's probably the truth.
You're being very ornery. You're being very surly right now, Ian.
Okay, hold
I
on.
thought you would love this idea.
I do.
This is a great idea.
It is. It's a great idea, except for $100 is probably way too much for it.
Is it going to be $100?
Under 100, which means
$150.
$99.99. Hold
One
on.
is back.
Andrew Lazewski. Anything mean I've said tonight
You got to tweet out and apologize.
is because of drug withdrawal and not because I don't like you. You've done a good thing by bringing this up and by pointing out that this is useful for chiptune musicians. So please accept my apology. You're probably a good dude in real life.
So this is. He brings the possibility of not knowing if you can play Game Boy Color carts on it.
It doesn't look like you can.
See, that's a big failure. In the one picture, they have the R-Type. Is that a Game Boy Color and Game Boy
No,
regular?
see, black works for regular and color.
Okay.
So
That's a huge fail if this cannot do Game Boy Color. There's no way this will sell for $100.
I don't think so.
It'll sell to your... Yeah, some people do
No.
chiptunes, but no one else will want
you
it.
listen to me? You cannot backlight a color screen.
We can turn it off, though.
Okay.
So just turn it off, then.
All of a sudden, it's still this. No. That doesn't work. You cannot backlight a color screen, meaning you would not.
Oh,
be
you
able
can't
to,
do the tech.
You can't do it. You can't. As far as it's known, there is no way to backlight a not that I've seen a traditional Game Boy Color screen.
Oh, there has been a way. I was going to say, because the GBASP screen is backlit.
Yeah.
That's different tech, though.
But I think that's different tech.
Yeah.
I think they're basically mimicking
God damn it, Ian.
Game Boy Light with some pluses. That's the only thing I can assume is that it's because the original Game Boy Color screen is so hard to.
I cannot wait to get the new microphones going because we'll now have this buzzing sound. Okay. Is there a market for just regular Game Boy games at $100? You think no?
If it's really $99.99, actually, with the price that modded Game Boys are going for right now for chip tuning, quite possibly to just the chip tuning market. But
Not big enough to do a huge run, though. I mean,
I would have to see how hefty it feels. If it's actually of good quality, this could be something interesting. Because the Game Boy Light never got released in the US. And ever since I actually got mine, I use it a ton. And I think that it would find a market, but it has to be of high quality.
if you got yours modded to do what this does, what would it cost? If you got a regular Game Boy or Game Boy Pocket to do this.
Pocket's out of the question. I have a regular Game Boy that can do this and more. At the time I got it for $60, but that was years and years
60
ago.
modded plus what you paid for.
That was years
plus
and years.
it's a huge fucking thing.
But that was all said and done. It's
Okay.
probably about 100 now.
So I would go for this because this will probably,
I think purists are gonna want the original hardware. Still, chiptune artists are extraordinarily like original hardware people.
Okay.
But I still think it's cool just because we need to see I see so many beat up Game Boys come into the store that this could be a really nice, interesting option.
I think if this was say $70,
I was gonna say $79.99 maximum.
and you'll get more people biting on it because I think not having the Game Boy Color, people will be like, well, then I still need to carry around my other Game Boy then to play those games. So it's like, yeah.
$79.99 maximum for the enthusiast. I think if you wanted people to adopt it really well, you would have to release it at 50 to 60, and I don't think they can.
Not with that tech, they probably couldn't.
No.
Because if that Smart Boy's selling for 40 to 50, you know.
Right.
They got to make a profit on it, obviously. It's not just charity. Capitalism. All right, Ian, we like the Blue Apron. Don't we like the Blue Apron?
We do like the Blue Apron. What did you make recently?
Parmesan crusted chicken just today.
Oh, nice. We
Took
did.
about a half hour. It was delicious. Roasted, it was roasted broccoli with a little bit of spice on that, a little bit of lemon wedge.
Ooh.
And something I should be doing every day of my life, sweet potatoes, mashed sweet potatoes.
Oh, yeah. Mashed sweet potatoes are absolutely delicious.
Or were they yams? They're the weirdly shaped things.
Sweet potatoes. They always they send out a lot of fresh sweet potatoes over here in California land.
Confuse yams versus sweet potatoes. They're like weird cousins of each other. Got to do that anyway because sweet potatoes are really good for you, and it's a better potato. It's like candy almost.
I was eating sweet potatoes the other day, and I was like, hey, these are delicious. They can't be good for me. And I looked it up, and I was like, oh, they really are. All right. The last one we did was we did the barbecue turkey loin. The barbecue turkey loin, and it was with collard greens, and it was out of control.
So Blue Apron, they give you fresh ingredients, locally sourced, and the ingredient card, and they're anywhere from 25 to 45
ingredient card.
Ingredient card.
Oh, ingredient card.
And it's good stuff, and I've not had a bad meal yet. So for 8 weeks, they've been doing this. It actually ends in February. They're going to team with Whole30 to bring you delicious recipes. The menu will feature 2 Whole30 approved recipes each week, like Mexican spiced barramundi with avocado, Togarashi chicken lettuce cups with avocado, and kale and sweet potato salad. Kickstart your new year with Blue Apron and Whole30. And there you go. And so if you go to blueapron.com/CU podcast, Blue Apron is going to give $30 off your first order. There you go. In each meal, I think per person comes down to something like
it's about $30 a piece, but
not per person.
Oh, not per person.
It's about $10 per meal, something like that, or a
Yeah.
little bit less. So you can either get 2 different meals for 4 people each, or
yeah, no, it comes it comes down to like $10 per person, $15 per person, and you get a really decent serving. And as I've said to people before on this, if I go out and I go to the local market down the street and pick fresh ingredients, I generally, to make a dinner for 4, because I like to cook, I generally pay more than I would than through Blue Apron.
Some of these other Whole30 approved recipes, they have seared steaks and warm lemon salsa verde with roasted broccoli and sweet potato, chicken, whole kale, approved chicken and kale orange salad with spicy tahini dressing. Ooh, that sounds interesting.
That actually sounds good. I love kale.
Spicy pork and Korean rice cakes with.
I just had that. That's the fucking best.
That was a whole.
That is the. I'm not. This is not exact. This is
I don't
real.
even honestly, to be honest, they sent me that one. I don't even recall ordering it, and I got it. I'm like, and it was it tasted like something from a restaurant. I made
those fucking rice cakes. Are so
I made
good.
something that tasted like a restaurant meal. I'm not even kidding. It's like, I made this shit well.
Korean rice cakes are so good, so
with the ginger in there and everything,
and delicious,
and the little red spice thing,
so porky.
And finally, the vegetable fried rice with Togarashi peanuts. So we both had that though, the spicy pork and Korean rice cakes.
I've had that twice, and it's been a joy each time.
So I got a bowl of it when I had it.
Yeah, that's what.
And I was like, I could eat a whole second cereal-sized bowl of this. Like I could have had like 3 out of the 4 servings at one time, but I didn't. I wasn't fat Pat. It was fine. So anyway, go to blueapron.com/CU podcast and show your support, and you'll save $30 off your first order. Blue Apron, Ian.
Yep.
It is a better way to cook. So Ian,
eat the foods.
Ian, this is going to be the 25th anniversary of NBA Jam since it came out in '93. Love the arcade machine. I still remember playing it near my cousins at the I think it was the Walgreens. They had it in the back. Back in the day, like a Walgreens or Rite Aid would have just a big arcade machine in the back of the store.
CVS.
Really weird. Not anymore though.
No,
but back then they did it.
CVS, like 7-Elevens used to.
They had like 2 or 3. I think it was literally NBA Jam, Mortal Kombat 2. or like right, or Mortal Kombat 1 next to it, maybe a third machine, I forget. It was really a weird time for arcade gaming.
I literally
like arcade games were everywhere.
NBA Jam, the arcade machine, at the sports card shop where I bought my Ren and Stimpy comics and Magic cards.
So this was interesting. Besides your Magic card playing days, we can talk about that later. Tim Kitzrow, he's the announcer. He talked to ESPN recently about LA Clippers NBA Jam Night. I didn't know they had that. There's a lot of retro game theme stuff happening with like NHL and everything. Even ESPN commercials right now have like it looks like the NBA Jam commercial with like selecting the screen or like a
oh really?
Like it looked like some sort of selection screen for like Mortal Kombat with like different NBA players and teams. Really cool stuff. Anyway, that's how you know we're old, because now ESPN's picking it up and like, oh, the results like this stuff.
Because we're as old as all the people on the channel.
Yes, we are. We're about to retire. Anyway, so he talked to ESPN. He said that he's involved in some capacity with an unannounced Jam revival. He said, I can't speak to anything to the specifics, but I can tell you that there is movement in the works to get it done for the 25th year, which is this year. I'm hoping that we get a remake that does justice to the original. According to ESPN's story, he's working with Microsoft for this mysterious anniversary project. EA did the Jam reboot in 2010. I did own it.
There was a follow-up. On Fire was the follow-up.
It was a slight upgrade. It was like Tournament Edition, how they upgraded some of the players and some of that stuff.
They upgraded the controls, too. I felt like it was a better game.
I didn't put a huge amount of time into the second one versus the first one. I played a lot of the first one.
I played a good amount of the first one and enough of the second one to realize it was a necessary update.
What I remember from Jam, and this is already 7.5 years ago, is that it was playable, but it was a lot more complex than the original.
Sure. In
terms of the number of moves, I can't remember. Besides the spin moves and fadeaways and all that, there was a couple other weird moves you can do.
Well, they put the alley-oops in that were added in Hang Time, I think.
Yes, they're alley-oops.
And then I don't remember
which is fine, because you like the alley-oops.
I like the alley-oops. I don't remember.
They added a couple other little things that made it a little more intricate. But it wasn't, I think, overwhelming, but it was definitely a lot more complex than the original NBA Jam games.
Sure.
Even more than Hang Time was.
Right.
Because Hang Time added leaners and things like that. To the Hang Time to me is the epitome of the series. Hang Time is fucking fantastic.
Oh, Hang Time's amazing.
NBA! Anyway, so then they had the game that came out last year, right? That was a spiritual successor.
So it actually NBA Playgrounds, which I like, and it actually just got a full update that I downloaded last night. It was for free. I don't know if it's because I had downloaded the original edition or if it's just for free right now, but it was it's called NBA Playgrounds is the game, and it's like NBA Playgrounds, like they called it something weird. It wasn't like Ultimate Edition or anything, but it was like a something edition or enhanced edition. So NBA Playgrounds is fun. It's a 2-on-2 basketball game like Jam, but I think one of the biggest problems was in the first release, it took forever to inbound the ball. Like after a score, it just took forever.
Like a reload.
Yeah. But they fixed that with an update. So that made it better, but the game was way more technical than it needed to be, meaning like every single player had a different sweet spot for the release for 2-pointers, 3-pointers, dunks. So they tried to make it technical based on their stats, but instead of it just being a probability of it happening, it was you actually had like a wider or smaller window for making it happen. So my thinking was that was kind of the, like you said, the spiritual successor to it. But without playing this new version that honestly I just downloaded last night, I don't know if they've made it any more arcadey. I think there's, as much as I do actually like that game, it's kind of low scoring, and I think there is an opening for Jam to come back, kind of like this article says, because it's unlikely they'd go from idea to finished game in a year, unless they just sort of took the original framework,
just upgraded it,
made a couple balance adjustments so that the computer didn't automatically freaking destroy you if you got ahead 3 baskets.
What is that? So I was playing music. Oh, that's all.
Yeah.
Damn you, neighbors!
Yeah.
So,
But I mean, I would love to see it because I thought On Fire Edition was a good step forward. But if they're gonna get something out recently or soon, it would have to be an upgrade of that or just a reskin of the original.
Well, you don't know how long they've been working on it. They just
True.
said that they're going to have it out this year. So at the Clippers game, this was on. They did it on Saturday the 13th. He announced some of the highlights during the game live. He announced that's pretty fucking cool.
Oh, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, because the Clippers right now are not the most joyous team to watch in the NBA. So, and they had a contest to give away an NBA Jam machine. So I'd be looking to a true spiritual successor. You know, just sideways. 2D game, and just give me the unicorn. Give me Porzingis on the Knicks. That's all I ask. Because back in 2010, I had to play fucking Carmelo and whoever else was on the Knicks. That was not the best team. God, I hate Carmelo on the Knicks. God, thank God he's gone. Anyway, next topic.
So Microsoft is planning a career system for their consoles, and so weird as it might sound, and almost as stupid as this system sounds, I'm kind of for it. Hear me out. So, Microsoft kind of created the gamer score system, or the reward, the meaningless. This is what you've accomplished.
You get points for doing shit in games, and then it adds up to something. And then...
it just shows how much you've completed a game. Each game initially could have 1,000 gamer score points attributed to it, and then they would break those down into achievements that you could unlock by doing certain things. Sony followed suit and introduced the trophy system, where you could earn trophies for accomplishing certain tasks. It's, to me, kind of silly on the outside, but at the same point in time, when I do find a game I really like, especially if the trophies or achievements, are sort of sensible, I do like to try to kind of see if I can get them all, although I've never been good at it. I think a lot of people have sort of the question of, what's it mean? What's the point? And it's really just for bragging rights. It's sort of silly, I think, in that regards, that, your gamer score or your trophy collection would ever matter in a conversation. What Microsoft's doing is it's kind of evolving that into what appears to be what's known as a career system, which would be an evolution of the gamer score thing, and it would most likely continue to cross over platforms around to Windows. And essentially, it's going to kind of leave the gamer score behind, but it's going to give you experience points for basically achievements like you would have gotten on normal games, but for continuing to get better at one game. So if you only bought, say, Overwatch for your Xbox One, you get really good at it. In the past, you could only unlock maybe 1,000 gamer score for it. With this, you can continue to earn rewards or recognition for how good you are at it. But in addition, they're going to finally throw in some unlockables for your avatar and stuff like that.
Sure.
Loot crates for your avatar, costumes for your,
loot box.
Your loot boxes for your icons online and stuff. And it's all silly, but at least it finally, for some people, translates into, I don't know, some sort of return.
Okay.
I mean, as long as these systems are going to be around, I mean, I'm not, as silly as it sounds to me, I'm not going to fault Microsoft for throwing something back at them for doing this. Because at least then you feel like, hey, I'm working towards something.
I played for 45 hours. I didn't just throw away my entire weekend. I get a little hat.
I get a unicorn.
My avatar.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just, I mean, like I said, it's something more than, supposed bragging rights, especially if those bragging rights don't mean anything to you.
Yeah, I always thought this was silly to have gamer scores, because, like, what does your high score mean?
Well,
it's just
and also because people will like constantly call me at the store and look for games that are known to have like really easy like achievements. So I mean, people just farm this stuff for like I said, literally bragging rights. It's dumb. They're like trying to impress people with it.
It's the new collecting cereal box tops to send away for a shiny toy.
Yeah, this is more interesting because
without the crunch or part of a balanced breakfast.
This at least plus orange juice plus eggs, plus milk. This at least sounds like it has some sort of more detailed tracking to it. So if I wanted to play a game like Overwatch online competitively on the Xbox One, it would at least, in addition to giving me a fancy, dress for my character, my avatar, it would, it sounds like it's going to track stats more and more in detail, track your achievements while playing that game. So I'm all for that sort of thing, stat tracking and stuff like that.
This quote is from, what's this guy's name? Ybarra. He said, we're going to go big in the area of letting people show off and represent their gaming history and the type of gamer that they are. Far more than we do with Gamerscore.
Well, I think the point there is like, if all you want to do is play first-person shooters, then that's fine. You can gain more bragging rights easier with our new system than by calling Ian all the time and asking him if he's got CSI for the Xbox 360 for an easy 1,000 gamer points.
All right, that's very specific, Ian.
Because that's known to be one of the easiest games to get 1,000 gamer points in. People call me for it.
Who are you, Ian? Do you have this game? I really want to know. All right.
I'm going to the bathroom.
Ian, I've been following this project for a good year and a half for this Kickstarter.
I've been aware of it for about a year, I think. At least by name. I've known of the idea, but as NES Maker, it's been about a year.
Yes, Ian, NES Maker is the Kickstarter.
Yeah, that's right.
So this is from someone I know. I've seen him at many conventions. He's a very nice guy, Joe Granato. So going back a few years, there was a original Kickstarter called The New 8-Bit Heroes. It was both a documentary about the homebrew NES scene and also recording or documenting Joe and his pals making their own NES homebrew called Mystic Searches, which is a little cute little adventure game. So that documentary eventually came out. It came out, I believe, fall of this past 2017. I appear in it. I shot my interview for it in 2015. So it's been a while. It's been a long journey.
You were younger and handsomer.
Yes, this move did take a lot out of me, some years. So, and check it out. It's on Amazon Prime. I think it's on. I think you can rent it. You have Civac, creator of Battle Kid, one of the first modern NES homebrews. I'm in there. My pal Norm, the gaming historian, also appears in that. Dane Anderson from Nintendo Age and others. So, from that project, though, Joe and the team developed a tool to more easily make NES games. Because in the past, in order to make an NES game, you had to know assembly.
Hex and assembly.
So it's not exactly accessible to most out there. So this Kickstarter NES Maker is, to me, revolutionary in a way. And I've been excited and waiting for this for about a year and a half, if not 2 years, for this Kickstarter to come out.
Yeah, it should be pretty goddamn kick-ass.
Because I've used it. I used it like over a year ago. I think a year and a half ago I first used it. And I was like, Joe, this has to come out. This will open up NES game development to everyone. This is bigger than your homebrew game, which he realized. And this is going to be bigger than maybe your documentary. And he was like, yeah, you're probably right. So this is a software tool, a GUI, if you will, in order to make your own NES games.
It's an engine, but more importantly, yeah, it is a GUI. It's a graphical user interface. They created an easier way for themselves to make their game, and now they are marketing that.
Yeah.
But in addition to that, so that's what they call the adventure game module, which is similar to, say, Zelda.
So that was a $32,000 goal. By the time we recorded this on January 16th, they blew past their goal.
They have unlocked the adventure game module, the platformer module, the RPG module, and yep, that's it. The brawler and the shooter module are still to go, but at this rate, I don't think they're going to have any problem hitting it.
They're going to kill it.
And what's great about these is that it doesn't sound as... It can be as cookie cutter as you want or as non-cookie cutter as you want. You can play by the rules of the templates that they're making and simply drop in your own sprites and music and stuff like that, or you can mash templates together. Basically, what they're giving you is a set of coding guidelines that you can drag and drop graphical user interface guidelines that you can adhere to, or you can script your own stuff. You can mix them together. They even talk about that a little bit in the Kickstarter. So the main reason I'm saying this is just just to let people know, even if they don't, and they will, but even if they didn't hit the goal and get those shooter modules released and those brawler modules released, someone's going to do them later.
Or someone could figure out eventually.
Well,
the
that's what I'm saying.
can put it together.
Someone can put that stuff together later. This is going to be a very nice, easy to use program to make your own NES games as basic or as expansive as you want, with the right amount of guidance up front to just get something going and playable.
Yeah, and I've used it.
Right.
I've used it, and within 10 minutes, we had like an overworld Legend of Zelda style screen with a couple of monsters and a little hero, and we were fighting it out.
Were the monsters bad nachos, and was the hero good nachos?
I don't know what that's a reference to, Ian.
Your love of fucking nachos, Patrick.
Oh. No, Ian, it was not.
Well,
but
we should make that game.
We should make the adventure of Pat versus the nachos. Yes, we should do that. Someone's gonna probably do that now with NES Maker. So, what's cool about it is, yes, there is from what I remember, there's a library of assets you could choose from to drop into your game, but then you can make your own. But I remember the engine will tell you if that graphic asset's good or not, whether it'll work.
That thing I think is awesome. I think that's the most important. I think honestly the basic skeleton of what they're adding, of what they have, is the most important. The thing that makes sure that you're within your color palette, right? Range, and
not too
and
many
your
colors,
sprite range, and you're staying within that so that it's instantly flashable. I think those overall guidelines are honestly the greatest thing that this is offering. And then the extra bit of drag and drop that's afforded by the modules is even better.
Yeah, and so with for example, when he told me about way back about the different what you can create with these 5 different types of games, and I told him at the time, like, that's gonna be cool because that's gonna cover like 85 to 90% of all the games, NES type of games you can possibly make. When you really think about it, and again, and this is just with the tool set built in without exploring.
Yeah.
So adventure, platformer, that includes action platformers, RPGs, brawlers, and shooters. So when you think about it, you only have sports games that are left, and those are very specific type of games, and puzzle games, and maybe those great old Koei games you love, like strategy type of games.
And you could still probably,
you can probably still figure it out. It would take a lot of work to do it nuts and bolts versus having the engines ready to go for you. The whole point is that this is going to satisfy the needs of most of the type of games you want to make.
Sure.
They even said that you can make it your own Metroidvania type of game if you do a little tinkering behind the scenes.
Right. That's what I was talking about before. If you take the adventure module and you take the platformer module, you've got that stuff already kind of pre-existing in there to do what you want to do. It even says that in the Kickstarter, by mixing the two. So basically, you can load any one of these up, and what I'm assuming is have everything ready to go for drag, drop, and create.
Yeah.
Or if you want to do a little bit of scripting or coding or just pulling from various libraries, you can do much more.
This is why this is important to me before I get into the specific tiers. This is important because for so many years, the homebrew scene has been locked away, and unless you knew how to do the coding, you couldn't make the game. So that a very specific type of person was making these games. Very technical minded person that knew how to use assembly and put together the games. That doesn't necessarily mean the person had the greatest idea to do a game. But that was the type of person that could do it. You didn't have full teams putting together these homebrews. Usually a one-person, club doing it. Now you can have teams of people doing it. Right. You can say, like, you know what? I'm hanging out with Ian and Vonnie. All right, we know someone to do the assets. Give me the assets. I'll drop it in. Someone to do the sounds on your little synthesizer or whatever to get in. It's more collaborative. It's more accessible to everyone, and it's not locked away. There's no more gatekeepers now, potentially, to the homebrew community.
Right.
Now you can have someone that could have had it all worked out in their head and that said, I'll never be able to make this game. Now they got a shot to do it.
Yeah.
It's extremely exciting.
We'll get Vonnie to do the art assets. We'll get you really high because it's legal now, and you can just babble. We'll get Norm in town, and we'll get Norm to just kind of transcribe the gist of a story from your babbling, and I'll code it out.
You're going to code it out? You're actually going to learn how to use the software again. I'm going to hold you to that.
It shouldn't be hard.
It's basically like Windows 3.1. So that's what you got there. So this is the tiers here. So the software is $36. The one
that's incredibly reasonable. Let me
tell
you why. Because what I see this as is it's like, okay, for PC game development, there was a program back in the 90s called Click and Play. That was huge. It was a drag and drop game creation system with a very easy horizontal, vertical checklist of if-thens that you could make. Okay. And then that turned into the Games Factory, which is actually still used today for some games. I think Hotline Miami was actually made in it. Very easy graphical user. Yeah, very easy graphical user interface.
Maybe the Ian game with the rabbit was too.
No, that was RPG Maker. Okay. And then there are things like Unity, and they get progressively more intricate, but they're still easy for people to approach. This is kind of like the Games Factory for NES. Anyone can get into this, and I see this being humongous. So yeah, I could do this not because I'm a coding whiz, but just because I have the basic knowledge of how something flows, and you just look at it and it makes sense.
So this is cool though. So the $36 one is a software. At $88 you get the toolkit, which is the software, a Kazo USB cartridge, cart flasher, which I actually do own one somewhere. I'll find in the move because I have to download the ROMs of the two prototypes I have and get them out there. But I do have a Kazo USB. They're actually sold out on the website right now, probably because they're supplying them for this Kickstarter. Right. But it's not that expensive. But you also get a blank reflashable cartridge, so that's cool.
Which is cool.
So otherwise, you can just load up an emulator and play it. But what if you want to just put it on the NES and get that feeling? Right. Like that's just a cool thing that didn't exist before.
And then, if you want to, you can start ordering the, the pieces and the boards, and you can do a production run yourself by actually burning it to ROMs.
Yeah, I'm sure you can work that out as well. So then they have the NES Maker Pro, which gets you a flasher that's inside of a NES style housing. So that's a little.
And there's one with a gold.
And the gold one, because you have to have it with the gold.
Because everyone loves gold.
so I think we're thinking about the CU podcast game now. I think we can do that. I think we can put it together out there. But just think about exponentially how many more NES homebrews you have. And people can say, oh, you're gonna have a lot of maybe shovelware out there, but you're gonna have some awesome games.
But you're also gonna have a lot of cool shit.
You're gonna have some the Ian Ferguson shooter. You're gonna make your own shooter, Ian. Now you can do it.
Yeah. And a brawler.
And a brawler?
Yeah.
The CU podcast brawler?
Yeah.
Yep. But seriously though, I think this is fantastic. I told Joe, I told you this is going to be a massive success. I said, Joe, this has to come out, and they launched it at PAX. What was it? PAX? Which one? PAX South. And while they were there,
I was talking to someone the other day about this, and this is a perfect example. Is especially, I think, I don't want to say it's just for my age range, it's for everyone, but as I get older, I want more things that I can buy that give me a creative outlet and less things that I consume just to consume. And even if what I would do on this never made it to anyone, this is the sort of recreational hobby that I would find satisfying. And I think a lot of people are going to find it very satisfying. even if they just make it very small to put something on an NES cartridge and
Sure.
play it.
Hell, what if you just made your own little, I don't know, you made your own little like party game for someone. You know, like people are coming over, you make your own little party shooter game or whatever, your own score attack thing, whatever. It's just opens up a world. That's cool. Now it sounds like we're shilling it, but no,
I'm
really,
bored someday and I make a survival horror game where I have to avoid Nene all over the house.
There you go.
Yeah.
Even if it's like fucking Pac-Man and Ian's running around a maze.
All right, it does sound like shilling now, but no, I do genuinely think this is a great idea, and I actually did not know that you knew the person involved with this. So.
You did not know that, really?
Yeah, I didn't.
We're talking about this project for a year. You don't remember those conversations?
I've been following it, and I mean, I knew of it.
Oh God! All right. Well, there you go. Check it out.
I mean, I was aware of this. Well,
through me originally. You heard it from me first. But how do you think I knew about it?
I don't know.
I have an underground NES channel of information that I reach out to.
Fucking hand jobs in a dark park at night. I have no idea.
Don't spread rumors about me and Joe.
All right.
So check it out. It's already funded. So whatever we say, it's not going to fucking matter. We can't derail it. We can't make it that much better. But check it out and think it's
hand jobs.
All right. I'm going to probably get this. All right.
Me too.
All right. Ian, Dollar Shave Club.
Yeah.
You just kind of shaved, actually.
I did. It's been a few days. Needed to up this a little bit.
So Dollar Shave Club.
I would totally use a Dollar Shave Club razor to edge this up.
You need one.
Yeah.
So go to dollarshaveclub.com/CU podcast and you can get any shaver on that page for $1 for the first month. Cancel anytime with free shipping. So they have a few different ones to choose from. They have the Humble Twin. They have the Executive, which I have, which is nice. It's like 4 blades. Look how smooth this is right now, Ian.
How many blades can we get up to?
I don't know, 17. I don't know, but Dollar Shave Club. It's their quality blades at an affordable price. You won't break the bank. And again, there's no commitment. You can cancel anytime. They have the Executive with 4 blades. You also have the 4X, which is another one with 4 blades and 4 cartridges. And you got the Humble Twin. If you just need 2 blades, you don't want to go nuts.
No, see, here's the thing. I got to tell you, I jumped on the Dollar Shave train early when I first started to shave. I actually got a bunch of recommendations and free blades. But then I stopped shaving like a dirty person. Anyways, the Humble Twin, fantastic.
He's gonna go Humble Twin. That's your official endorsement.
Yep. My endorsement is the Humble Twin.
The Humble Twin. There you go. Ian says to try the Humble Twin.
It's a good twin blade razor. Nothing fancy.
And it's $1. More importantly, it's $1.
Goddamn dollar.
That one is $1, and you get let's see, you get 5 cartridge replacements. So you're good to go. You're good to go.
That's more than a month.
Shh. Go to Dollar Shave.
Okay, I mean that's.
Hey, we're trying to sell shavers here.
It's a month and a week.
Okay.
All right.
You use one as a spare when you go to too many games or something.
Yeah, there you go.
Or some other convention.
You leave it behind.
All right. You go to dollarshaveclub.com/CU podcast. All right. We have our Patreon.com Q&A. Now
that too, yeah.
So Ian, tell everyone about our Patreon while I hook this up.
So you go to patreon.com/CU podcast, and there's our Patreon. And at our Patreon, you can give us some money. You can donate some money to us. It supports us. Supports us in all the nations of the world. And, at various tiers, you can get the whole live podcast for $6.
Well, it used to be live, but
live. It's not live. The video podcast
do it live
for $6. But for $5, you can also call into the CU potline. No, that doesn't sound right.
First of all, it's not $5, so you don't know your own Patreon.
What is it?
It's $3.
Oh, it's $3. $3. If you pledge $3, you can call into the CU podcast hotline and leave us a voice message.
All right, here's the first one up. Here you go. You ready, Ian?
I'm ready. I'm so goddamn ready.
Let's see if we can control this here.
Definitely not stoned out of my mind.
Hey guys, this is Rich from Atlanta. Pat, I listened to your podcast with Vinny from Vine Sauce. Interesting conversation on the differences in the user experience when watching recorded videos versus watching live streams. But my question, what's the difference between YouTube Live and Twitch? I'm someone who uses YouTube Live all the time and enjoy looking at live streams, but I've never actually used Twitch. Also, bring back the CU Let's Play. Thanks.
Thanks, Rich. The CU Let's Play is not coming back.
Okay, hold on. One, I would be interested in maybe doing the CU Let's Play again. And two, I mean, but as a stream.
That's not. I say it's not a Let's Play.
Not as a Let's Play.
It's a live stream. It's not a Let's Play.
And two, I met Vinny once. He introduced himself to me. I introduced myself to him. He was really nice to me. That's all I have to say about this topic. So, Pat, go.
All right. First of all, the CU Let's Play is not coming back in terms of a pre-recorded Let's Play. But
No.
Twitch is a coming this year. Twitch is a coming with me at least. If he wants to come to Castle Country, he can record with me too.
Did I just say?
I'm just saying. That's a setup.
Twitch. I mean,
yeah. Okay. Okay. So YouTube Live is for everything. I mean, it's on the app. I recorded my awesome unboxing video of the SNES Classic that half the people liked, half the people hated. So that's what YouTube Live is. It's really for everything. Twitch, in theory, is 95% gaming related.
well, they kind of released a lot of those restrictions.
They did,
didn't
but
they?
still, that's how it is. There's different communities. Twitch is a totally different community than YouTube Live. YouTube Live doesn't really have its own identity in terms of having a community versus Twitch. I mean, if you're on YouTube, if someone goes live on YouTube, you'll get a notification. Hey, Ian's live or Pat's live. We can go watch his stuff. That's sort of how it works. It's the same subscription base. Twitch is different, and that's really the difference there. Hooded Ian hasn't been around in a while, has he? So thanks for your question, Rich. Next question.
Hi, Ian. It's Getsaberry again.
Hello.
I need a hobby. Anyway,
Yeah.
Ian, don't blame me for this, but what was the first movie or TV show that you remember that made you cry or at the very least tear up? I know mine was either Power Star, Horror on Newgrounds, or Nina Tucker from Full Metal Alchemist. So yeah, thanks, hugs and smooches, and see you next time.
Me? I mean,
He's gonna smoke you. What do you say, Getsaberry? Getsaberry is in the Pat Discord chat a lot, by the way. Discord chat room.
all right. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, everything makes me cry or feel
What was the
sad.
first movie or TV show you remember that made you cry? You remember? I know exactly one of the first things that made me cry was. It wasn't a TV show or movie though, but I'll let you go first, unless you're trying to think of it.
I think I cried during American Tail, and that
I
would have
never
been,
saw that as a kid.
that would have been 4 years old. I was in the theater.
Papa.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I think that one was
No,
hard.
that made me cry. I think
That one
I
was
saw a part of
hard
that
for me. I was 4 in theaters, almost 5.
I can't remember.
Yeah, that one was rough.
I can't remember seeing that annoying Ewok get killed by the stormtrooper. Made me cry or not when I was like 5, watching that probably like on whatever channel it was on at the time, USA or whatever. Not sure about that. I'll tell you what did make me cry though, and to this day. I was a big fan of the read-along cassette and tape. Cassette and read the book.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's time to turn the page when you hear the chime. Bloop.
Yeah.
So I liked Little Critter. Remember Little Critter?
Oh, Mercer Mayer, Little Critter. Yeah,
Little Critter. These are like these
the
really
little hairy guy,
really hairy gnomes, and there's like the sister and it's,
but a cute mouse. Really cute.
there's
mouse.
a cute mouse that's always
Yeah.
in the shot somewhere
Yeah.
doing something, right?
Yeah.
So I had a few of them.
Oh my god.
My
We're gonna get married?
I hope I could do better. But there's probably all these on YouTube by now. I've searched them, these uploaded. So I had two. I had 2 or 3.
I had okay,
But one was Merry Christmas, Mom and Dad.
sure.
And I still remember the fucking songs they had afterwards by heart.
Yeah.
Dear Santa, I've been good. I've done everything a good kid should. I know. I'm fucking insane because this is stuff from like 1985.
Drugs.
Anyway, so
I need more drugs.
there was a Little Critter, besides the Christmas one, there was like Little Critter. What the fuck was it? It was like goes to the beach with his grandma or hangs out with his grandma. Okay?
Yeah, I think I know this one.
Okay. So the grandma and Little Critter, the little fucking troll hairy creature thing, which
Yeah.
looking back is very scary. I also
Kind of like Captain Caveman.
I always a little bit more hairy. I also like the Berenstain Bears as well, but I think I prefer Little Critter. Anyway.
Yeah, I like both.
So
it depends on the story.
So Little Critter's hanging out with his hairy grandmother, Big Critter grandmother. And it's innocuous. They're going around and they're hanging out. Turn the page. All of a sudden, it goes from Little Critter having a fucking hot dog to it being dropped in the sand. And Little Critter is bawling his fucking eyes out. And oh my God, if I did not just fucking lose it as a 4-year-old reading that.
You know what still makes me lose it?
I fucking lost it.
Right here, buddy. Right here.
I lost it.
You know what still makes me lose it?
Clammy hand.
Yeah, my hands are always clammy. It's any time I read a story or see a picture of a child dropping the ice cream off their cone. Very similar.
Do you remember this Little Critter, though? It was a hot dog.
Yeah.
I'll never forget. It was a hot dog he just had. He was fucking hungry and happy at the beach with his grandma. Sorry, kid. You got a sandy dog now.
I might actually have that story in this house.
That's really fucking sad, and I'm going to have a fucking heart palpitation and a flashback.
I'm not going to look for it.
Don't put me through that, but it was definitely little was it Grandma? What was it called?
Okay, we're moving on.
No, we're not moving on.
We're moving on.
Is that where
we're moving on?
I think it was Little Critter.
Okay.
Little Critter goes to the beach, or Little Critter. Someone find these for me and send it to me in the comments.
Little Critter ruined Pat's childhood.
I don't think it was an audio cassette, though. I think it was just the story, and it still made me cry.
Okay.
All right. Moving on. Next, I think one more. We got one more.
Hello, Pat and Ian. It's me, Rashid from Dubai. It's been a while.
Hey.
Hey.
You guys are doing well. My question is, what do you guys think of the retro gaming scene if you guys had both games regions, let's say US, Japanese, and PAL, available at your local stores since the start? To explain more, here in Dubai, since the 80s, we had games and systems imported from all 3 regions available here, depending on the store, of course. And now, whenever you walked into a local store or any gaming store, you will find both PAL and US region games and systems, sometimes Japanese. So do you think the retro gaming scene or the prices of the games will differ if you guys had both, if you have access early on to all the regions locally? Hope you guys are doing well. Peace.
All right.
Hey, that's actually a really good question. We recently...
So basically, this question is, how would the retro gaming scene look if we had access to imports the whole time easily, all regions,
and what would the price differences be? We actually got a trade-in at Luna just after Christmas of a bunch of Super Famicom games, and we took it because there was... normally we don't take in like RPGs or stuff on the Super Famicom that have been released in the US. People aren't really interested in them, language barriers and stuff like that. We might take in the Final Fantasies, whatever, Dragon Quests. But long story short, someone came in with a bunch of Super Famicom games, and other than say like the Fireman by Human, which is a really interesting game in and of itself, we had like a bunch of the really big Super Nintendo titles, but on Super Famicom, like Super Donkey Kong, Super Donkey Kong 2, Super Donkey Kong 3, which are the Donkey Kong countries in the US. We had Super Mario Kart, we had Super Mario World, we had all the Street Fighters, and the price on those things is like $5 to $10. Like, that's what they go for. And we pushed them, and people were so psyched to get the deals because these were people who were buying like Retrons, or these were collectors who had Super Famicoms, and they were like, it was funny because a lot of the people who picked them up were people who had Retrons, and as soon as I explained it to them, I'm like,
it'll work.
Just imagine Super Mario Kart, but not in English, and for like less than even a third of the price. And they're like, oh yeah, I mean, there's like no reading in that game.
Sure.
And they sell it. If you had that sort of diversity available at your store all the time, it would be great.
It would kill the price overall.
Well, it would kill the price overall, but it would be very interesting because you'd still have those collectors who require the US versions of games. That's how I differentiate TurboGrafx collectors from PC Engine collectors, because there's really no fucking reason to collect TurboGrafx over PC Engine.
Hey,
No, there isn't.
I had it as a kid, motherfucker.
Don't give a fuck.
Me and the richest
Just play the
millionaire kid in
goddamn
town had
games.
it.
Anyways, but I mean, that's kind of my point. So there's always going to be those US collectors who want to buy the US versions, but the US prices would go down. But then you'd have all these people buying these Super Famicom versions, which are available in a huge quantity and worth nothing.
His question is more interesting because it points to, what if we always had it as kids, lived in a region that had all those different versions?
Oh, no, sure.
Then we wouldn't even place any importance on having US versus Japanese.
Well, we would for games with language barriers.
But most of them didn't, though, for the 8-bit era. So it wouldn't matter as much.
Well, no, and that's true. I mean, that's what I'm getting at, is that...
And even 16-bit era.
But that's even what I'm getting at now, is that for games that did not have a language barrier, people would happily gobble up the US, the Japanese versions. I don't think PAL versions... See, I'm from an NTSC country. Japan is an NTSC country. I don't see anyone actively gobbling up PAL copies of games unless they were exclusive due to the fact that they speed themselves up on US systems. If you can play them. If I'm not mistaken, on a CRT TV. They would run...
And then if you put a US on a PAL,
it runs slower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless some of them did do a trick to match the speeds, though. But most of them are off with the speed.
But I guess what I'm getting at is, even in modern day, if you had a readily available selection of good Super Famicom games next to good Super Nintendo games, and they were the same, people aren't going to care. They're going to buy the Super Famicom. They're going to buy the Super Famicom games.
Super Metroid will be exactly the same.
Yep, they're really not going to give a shit.
Yeah, actually, Super Metroid is how much language is there in it? Really,
not a huge amount.
So,
but I mean, definitely something like Super Mario World. It's like, yeah, just get the Super Famicom.
So, interesting question. And again, if you want to ask us, you can always ask us a question via Twitter.
I'm sorry. What's his name?
It was Rashi.
He always asks good questions, so I just wanted to say thanks for the question.
So, okay. So, it's the patreon.com/CU podcast Patreon. We appreciate your support. And yes, we're gonna be on Twitch this year. I got Castle Country's coming together. There's gonna be a nice studio going on there. So now it's Twitter Q&A time on the CU podcast. This is from at GJackX. Which of the classic systems of the 8-bit, 16-bit era, etc., will hold up the longest over time? Probably won't be in our lifetimes, but which one will continue to play games the longest before inevitable failure? There has to be a standout in the bunch mark. So he's actually talking about the hardware.
Talking about the hardware.
What hardware is going to actually physically last the longest? Interesting question.
To me, it really does. Like I said, if you eliminate all preference over system, it comes down to
which is built the best.
Probably the N64. I have less problems with N64s that come into the store than any other system. I've always wanted to say Super Nintendo. NES is honestly one of the most foolproof systems, but you have to have people who are willing to tinker around and mess with it just a little bit. A little bit.
If you clean them, they're okay.
Right. But I'm just saying, naturally, Super Nintendos do actually break down. I would say more often than you might think. It's still not a ton. It's not a lot at all.
Less than a Genesis.
Sure. I would say even the Genesis just has a proclivity to get really dirty.
The 2s and 3s break down more than the 1s.
Yes, the 1s never really break down. They might get sticky on and off
Three's
switches.
a piece of fucking garbage.
The 3's a piece of garbage
in
that
general.
wasn't even manufactured by Sega, so we don't need to worry about it.
And 2 has, and they had those fucking, sometimes the buttons get all weird and they're all squishy and stuff. And
Really, to me, it's just that the contacts seem to get really dirty somehow, even though
that
there's
is true
dust
for the
covers.
Genesis. That is really true.
That's really my only main complaint. The games on the N64 seem to get really dirty, given the amount of time they've been out compared to other games, but the system seems to be a tank, even in taking into account the fact that there's the extra contact with the power packs, but those things are usually removed once or twice, the memory packs. Yeah, so I mean, it may not be my favorite system, but the N64 is almost always a guaranteed surefire work when I get them in. N60 Super Nintendos, yeah, I may get a couple that I'm like, no, these just aren't working, and you also have to watch out for that stupid circular post on the back that
that
constantly break off.
Yeah, it breaks off,
that's a really annoying problem. And then NESs are really durable as long as you know what to do with them.
NESs are tanks as long as you keep them clean.
Most people can learn what to do with them, but if you don't know anything other than a Q-tip, N64s.
What about ColecoVision or Atari?
No,
they break too easily.
ColecoVision's controllers are too fragile, and Atari's power cord is too fragile.
The power cord's too fragile on Atari.
Things like Angel Hair Pasta, dude.
Can't remember the DC adapter.
It's like
it's too thin.
It's like that thin.
Oh, okay.
So it's not really the system. It's the power cord.
So you're taking it all together, all the hardware together.
Yes.
You're saying probably N64, then NES and Super behind somewhere.
Yeah, NES is a close second N64, but N64 seems to be like anyone can do it.
Those chameleons hold up though. After a while,
the chameleons are really good too. I mean,
robust.
I've never heard of a broken one.
The software's never broken. That's the good news.
Yeah, I've never heard of a buggy game on one either.
This is from at retro_Q_gaming. Any large-scale shifts in console/game collecting happening? Here in Ireland, there has been a massive upswing in OG Xbox collecting lately. Couple that with any change in predictions for the current state and future of the retro gaming bubble.
I'm done predicting like the future of
the future,
quote unquote retro gaming,
the future
that we're living in. But I will say that it's not just Ireland. At least in Southern California, I've seen a huge upswing in original Xbox collecting. We absolutely cannot keep original Xbox systems in stock. I never thought I'd see the day where that was the case.
I thought, I knew that was going to come.
We pay more for original Xbox systems than we do PS2s. And while we run out of both consistently, I think there is a nostalgia boom coming for those, but I'll talk about that a little bit more in a minute. We're out of Xboxes more than PS2s on a regular basis.
Absolutely.
I think what people are noticing is that there's a bunch of... It's like...
It's a party console.
Well, yeah, it's a party console just like the N64 was. It's a console that, even though it was not loved by everyone, much like the N64, it was a very good multiplayer console.
That alone.
I had a guy come in today and buy like, I think it was 6 controllers and 2 copies of Halo 2 for me, because him and his buddies were, between Craigslist and us and whatever they had, they were setting up a LAN party or something to play Halo 2. Yeah. It's just what they remembered, and they're younger.
It's their GoldenEye.
And they are younger than my N64 customers. So this makes sense to me, and I do think we actually might see a big surge in original Xbox collecting.
Be careful. When you say original surge, will it be more like N64 where you want to get 5 games and be done with it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. But that equaled huge but that's still big profits for stores that know what games to bring in and hold on to.
And that means the original Halo games will go up in value when more people go after them. They made 1 trillion of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like Mario 64. I mean, that's still a game that commands,
But PS2, there wasn't a party console. PS2.
No, PS2 and PlayStation 1 were never considered party consoles. PlayStation 2s are bought by people who are, I don't know, maybe more like me 5 out of 7 days of the week, where they're more introverted and they just want to play like games on their own.
Like RPGs or something?
Yeah, exactly. People still buy the hell out of PS2 consoles, but that's
it's also to play PS1 games.
true.
Yeah.
But that's the other thing. It has the bonus aspect of PS1 games, but even a lot of those were not party oriented still.
Sure.
Two ports.
If you're buying PS2, you heard it here from me, and you don't have any friends if you buy a PS2. That's what he
I didn't say that. I
You
just
said
said you're
that.
introverted
I think you
like
said
me. Okay, well, but so what Pat's saying is that I have no
but
friends,
it's interesting.
which is hilarious.
So PS2 might be this sort of weird outlier, different audiences entirely. The PS2 is going to be for a certain type of game, and Xbox is going to be, it's going to be, like you said, it's going to be the new N64.
Well, yeah, it's like I said last time. I think the PS2 is going to continue to be evergreen for its backwards compatibility and for all of the really great titles it had on it. But the Xbox will probably, as time goes forward, be more looked at the N64, like I said last time, is kind of this almost party toy that gets pulled out for like multiplayer and stuff like that.
Besides the Halos, what are the other games people are really buying?
Crimson Skies is a really big one.
I might have actually even owned that. I don't have an Xbox. I have that game.
I get called every single day for Battlefront 2.
The original.
I think
I own that on PlayStation too.
You're putting me on the spot after being intoxicated. There is a really good handful of like multiplayer games.
There's a handful. Same with N64.
and it is mostly multiplayer games that people are looking for.
What would be the big racing multiplayer game?
People are usually looking for the original Forza or any of the original Project Gothams, or the big one, and it's big on is Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition. Everyone wants Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition.
I played so much of Midnight Club 2 on PS2 with my cousin.
Midnight Club games are so
fucking fun games.
Yeah, they are. And Dub Edition, Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition is the one that everyone calls me up for. Oh, you know what else I still get calls for all the time? And it seems more so on Xbox because it's worth more on Xbox, I guess, is it's not Def Jam Vendetta. It's Def Jam Fight for New York. The last game that AKI ever made.
The third one? They made 2 or 3?
They made 3, but the icon was not made by AKI.
No, I'm sorry. The original Midnight Club is the one I played a lot of.
Oh, okay.
The one that was in, 3 cities? It was like London, New York, and LA. Was that the first one? Yeah. I played. Why the fuck don't I own that? That was probably the most game I played the most on PlayStation 2.
They're great games, though.
The mechanics were sound on the Midnight Club games, but they were just fucking fun. Capture the flag and smash it in.
You know what else is a really
Midnight Club.
good game on that system?
What?
Speaking of, and it's on PS2 too, I think, but it's better on Xbox because of the multiplayer.
I don't play Midnight Club.
Test Drive Eve of Destruction. It's like a modern day Destruction Derby, but with like a bunch of courses.
Okay.
Every once in a while, Lincoln brings it up. You should play it with us. There's like school bus races and like Red Rover races and smash the shit out of your father races. I actually have no problems with my father. I don't know why I said that.
Next question.
Yep.
Ian asks,
hold on. Sliding down the document is Fleet. This is from. Don't act all exasperated. People love this banter. At Lapras King. All right. Is Flea Market Madness dead or just on hiatus, as it's been a while since the last episode and you were downsizing your collection?
Am I downsizing my collection? I potentially am. Not that would have nothing to do with Flea Market Madness, though, by the way.
But
the Madness is not dead, Ian. The Madness still lives inside me. It lives and breathes and hopes.
Slim Jims.
Okay. So the Flea Market Madnesses that I edit used to be roughly 8 months to a year behind when I actually went, because I would just, at some points I do like 3 weeks in a row or twice a month I go and film. And
Now we're like 2 years behind, right?
It's getting fucking closer to that.
Okay.
It's getting closer.
That wasn't a joke
but
question.
Now, but it used to be, I would never, if I filmed every time I went to the flea market, and I could have 5-6 years ago when I had like garbage bags of games coming from the flea market. I literally did. Frank would have a bag.
I know.
I would have 190 volumes of Flea Market Madness by now. So, but it got to the point where it would just get less and less. But then it was like, still like, I was like, oh, okay, maybe every other time I'd feel like I get like this really weird radar, flea market radar. And usually 9 times out of 10, when I said, I'm going to film today, I would find something good.
Okay.
Then it got less and less. Then I had some in my head, go back, and when I'm editing, like I want to say when I got like volume 25, I think I've done like 32 Flea Market Madness or something like that. It's been a lot of them, or 29 or 30. I think over 30. I'd have to like cut parts of 2 together sometimes, and talk about the last 3 or 4 episodes. But overall, though, it would get to the point where I would stop filming, I said within the past couple of years, and then have to go back another time and be like, okay, now this is a better one. The flea markets suck dick now.
Yeah.
They've been bad since the heyday was probably early 2013 is when they probably hit their peak and started going downhill. All right? So 4 years after I got here. They've gotten really bad, I'd say, from 2015 on. They're like, ooh, these are getting bad now. Because there's now overabundance of people that have started to go to the swap meet and look for it. Not just that, but the sellers got more savvy, and then they would jack the price on their games that they would end up not moving, and then you start to see those nice sun-faded games. Oh, that's the same Roger Clemens MVP Baseball I saw last year for $5 that no one fucking wants. Gone are the days, the salad days of me finding a trash bag with an N64. One time I found, I think it was a Flea Market Madness episode, maybe it wasn't. I found like a fucking garbage bag with like a Jungle N64, 10 N64 games, and like 20 NES games for like $20. That was like 2011. That ain't happening anymore. That ain't happening at this point. It might, but probably not unless you really look hard. So that overall dampens my spirit of going to the swap meet. And I still like going, but I haven't gone at this point in time in like almost 4 months. And yes, I have other responsibilities and conventions and certain guidebooks to write, which that was a turning point. When I started working on the NES guidebook, I did not have the energy to go to the swap meet, then come home and start writing and playing games. That is part of it. But I'm also kind of sick of editing them. That said, I have like 12 more in the can to edit. So I will edit them at some point, and I might still shoot them, but my interest is waning overall because there's a lot less shit to find. So my feeling is that the audience doesn't want me to go out to the flea market and find jack shit.
You know what, Mike?
Why would you want to watch that?
You know what might kick up that interest?
What?
Vonnie needs someone to go to the flea market with all the time. And then you two could review the early morning bar. You could review the brooms. It'd be a lot more interesting with someone with you if you were going to find jack shit.
So anyway,
I'm just saying, she wants people to go to the flea market with you. Might as well film.
They're not as easy to edit as you think, because you have to sit through and watch yourself look at garbage for like, oh my God, okay, where's the interesting part? Where's the interesting part? It's a slog. That said, this is not me selling out, but Twitch is interesting me more and more in terms of what can be done on it, in terms of live shows, maybe a live podcast, live movie reactions when Ian and I actually go to a movie together.
Funny.
Talking politics with Pat.
No, the live pod. No, I just mean the live podcast.
Going back to the actually producing.
Boy, howdy, have I heard you say never again so many times.
Never again how we used to do it, that's for sure. No, never.
I'll have a live political podcast with you.
There we go. We'll do that. But what about a live flea market madness? I think that appeals to me more than anything else, because I don't know if that's really a thing happening. I probably gave the idea away. But that's what I think appeals to me more than anything. Because at the very least, you have the audience like searching with you for the games, and maybe they'll find something with you or not. But then Frank will say something inappropriate, and it'll be funny and everyone will laugh. So
good luck getting Frank to get back on that train.
To the flea market? We're going to the flea market in a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We are.
Okay.
What do you mean back on that train? Frank doesn't usually turn on the flea market. He likes going to the flea market. He likes finding his CD deals. He's been ripping hundreds of his CDs. He's discovered he knows how to rip. God damn it! I taught him how to use a computer, and I'm so proud of him. He's ripping CDs.
All right. Well, there he goes.
All right. Next question.
Ian asks,
I
Shuto,
fucking hate you.
I don't really care.
I know.
At Chilo88. More replying to at Pixel.
Oh, God!
What factor do you consider when there's people living upstairs, Pat? What factor do you consider when minimizing your collection for moving purposes in space? Thinking about selling off clutter, but don't know where to start. Hashtag CU podcast topics.
I'm gonna fucking kick you in your fucking throat.
Try
Okay.
it. I'll break your elbows.
So this is a timely question because someone just moved into Castle Country, and I have a lot of shit laying around in boxes, and I have to put together the game room again. So I said to myself, all right, I don't want to go through this again because I have way too much shit to move.
Mm-hmm.
I have probably, I don't know, 80 times the amount of stuff that you and Vonnie have. That's not healthy. So, and I have a storage unit.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I decided. I am going to look at my collection and be like, do I have an emotional attachment to this Odyssey 200 Pong system? Probably not. So that's how I'm going to decide to start to get rid of certain stuff. So I'm not going to get rid of the NES collection or the Turbo collection or the Master System collection. However, I don't need to have maybe 350 Atari 2600 games. I don't need to have 300 Genesis games. I don't need to have 350 or so Super Nintendo games. Like, I'm going to start strategically doing that. That said, I also have a shitload of vintage PC games. Some that are really hard to find. The only problem is no one fucking wants those at all. No one wants all my sealed key punch software, pirated shit made in Minnesota that has bootleg Wolverine artwork on the cover. No one wants that. No one sane wants that stuff. So some of the, especially the PC stuff, which I have large fucking boxes of.
Yeah, I know.
You want to buy those from me, Ian?
I told you it was fucking cool.
you actually want to buy that
Just
shit from
keep
me.
talking.
Maybe we could
Talk.
Okay. So that's where I'm getting at with that point. Do I really need to have 12 NES box variants? Probably not.
No, that's
and
a
I'm
no.
only one away from having all of them. If you don't count that weird one that they cut out the styrofoam and put Stack Up in. Was it its own UPC, so it's probably not an official release. But it was probably like, oh, we have some Stack Ups laying
Well, if
around.
you're
Let's
only
throw them
one
in.
variant away, I mean, you might as well just get that variant.
See, that's the sickness. See? That's the sickness. That's the sickness. Down with the sickness.
One away.
Well, one away if you don't count, like, okay, for the top loader, they put a Dr. Mario
Okay,
on
shut
some
up.
of
Get
them.
rid of all of it.
See?
Get rid of all
So I'm really
of
like
it.
3 or 4 away.
No,
'cause I don't have
just
those
sell it
variants.
all. Sell it all.
There's two different
Nope, everything.
challenge sets, for example. There's one with the box, Mario 3, and one with just the cartridge. See? There's a lot more.
Sell it all.
So I might do that. I might end up with, instead of having 12 variants.
Jesus.
You
I
have
said
3 or
if there
4.
was one more.
It was actually not one. There's like 4 or
Yeah,
5. See,
right.
where does it end?
You
So-
tell me, Pat.
So, what about you, Ian? You've pared down your collection. So
I
how did
have.
you decide what to
So
do?
it was.
How did you decide to sell your couch on me at overpriced? How did you decide to
I
do that?
didn't at the time. It was reasonably priced, $30 under reasonably priced.
So I paid $200 for that, I believe.
No, you paid $145.
No, I did not.
Yeah, you did. At a time when it was going for $175. Anyways,
Still waiting on the manual, buddy.
Anyway, for me, it was, I looked at what I had. I realized I didn't want to move my NES stuff around anymore. And more importantly, for me, it was, I just realized I was never going for a complete collection anymore.
I think that's really what balloons up
that,
collections.
I think that's what you need to start with if you're a big time collector, is you need to go, okay, what did I say I was going to get a complete collection of? And am I bullshitting myself with those? Which is 99% of the time, yes. You've bought into an idea and you're not going to do it, or you bought into the idea and some sort of compulsion is keeping you going. There's no reason to do that. And so what I did was I started with getting rid of games that I didn't want anymore, that I didn't want to play. And I didn't limit that to low price games. I included rare games in that as well. And once you let a few rare games tumble from your collection, it's really easy to watch the rest go. So what I did was, at that point, once I started selling stuff off, I made sure I went through and set aside all the games that had a legitimate sentimental value to me. Basically anything that was gifts from my parents or my grandparents, or things that were milestones, like the first game I bought for myself, which was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out.
You bought it for yourself? You saved up your allowance?
Yeah, and it was paper money, and I rolled up coins and stuff like that.
It was paper money. What do you mean? Newspaper?
Newspaper money.
You were a paper boy?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
For a long, long time.
We have our first NES Maker game. Ian as Paperboy. Just we'll do a ROM hack. Oh my! How come you never told me that?
I don't know.
That's brand new.
I had 3 very large paper routes at one point in time. So, anyways, that was the first thing I did. It was just being like, okay, you don't need complete collections. Limited. But honestly, I think the big tip is look at your collections. Look at the rare games that you have that are worth a lot of money that you don't play. Sell a few of those, and you'll realize that everything else you don't play tumbles after it.
Don't sell the rare ones.
Sell them. Get the fuck rid of them. That's what's keeping you holding on to your whole collection. Those are, I think, what a lot of people look at as keystones in their collection. And if they get rid of that, or they can't get rid of them.
Sure.
But once you get rid of them, you'll realize a lot of the other stuff you have is unessential, and you'll end up only keeping what you actually want to play.
Thanks, Ian.
Yeah.
This is from at Mark Musso Live. Oh, I skipped one. Oh, fuck.
No,
We'll do this right now. I did skip one. This is from at Mark Musso Live. Do you think collecting in general is something more psychological and therapeutic than people give it credit for?
I feel like we've touched on this before, but
touch.
I do think that there is something therapeutic to collecting, and
what the fuck, Ian?
Anyway, sorry, I decided to go for it.
You have a mute button too on the board.
Yeah, no, I decided to go for it.
I apologize for Ian's behavior if you're listening with headphones.
I'm sorry, that was just I made that conscious decision. Do you think that collecting in general is something more psychological and therapeutic than you give it credit for? Yes. I think that collecting is actually a good thing depending on how you attack it. Collecting and buying a ton of stuff is not always great. However, there is something very therapeutic to cataloging and organizing.
And preserving,
arranging. I get it. I probably should not spend the amount that I have on records in past years. However, when I alphabetize them or catalog them or look up variants on them, there is something very calming about it. I've mentioned in the past, and this isn't meant to sound dark at this point, but it really did help me get through the passing of my grandmother to start to catalog that stuff. It's kind of mindless, but you also learn all sorts of interesting facts about what you have when you really start to pay attention to the collections you have. So whether it's NES games or comic books or records, there's something very, I think, therapeutic to not just collecting necessarily, but really paying attention to your collection and getting to learn about what it is that you have.
It is a learning experience collecting, because in order to know what you have, in theory, you have to learn about the subject matter, and then you have to see what you have and realize what you have, and maybe that information sticks to you in some fashion. Doesn't necessarily mean it always will stick to you.
I feel like for most people, there has to be a natural learning experience for people who are really interested in it.
If you're really into it.
Yeah.
Like, I used to say that when I could do this, when I first was putting together the collection, I would play every game that I found at the swap meet. At least for a couple minutes. Oh, that's an interesting game. I didn't know about that. We're talking late 90s, early 2000s. You know, these aren't all games you can look up on YouTube, for example. You could load them up in an emulator, but that wasn't the same thing. You know, doing that is something more. It's definitely psychological. I mean, doesn't mean it's good or bad, though, because it could be OCD that drives you to collect. And you have to just have a compulsion to get every one of a certain type of object.
Or it could be that that's your pleasure center, and that's normal, and you spend within your means, and it's okay.
But you don't always spend within your means. Not mean you. I mean the general you.
Yeah,
Like, sometimes
it's a wibbly wobbly mess of bullshit.
There's people that I have known that are living check to check, and they're still buying a bunch of overpriced retro games from maybe people that appeared on awful reality shows, you know. So I mean that can happen. So live within your means. If you don't, no matter what it is, you might have some sort of psychological problem, and that could be collecting, it could be gambling, it could be drug abuse, it could be anything. Why are you smiling for? I'm not accusing you of these things, Ian. I have no idea.
I know.
I have no idea how much.
I know you're not.
I have no idea how much.
That's not why I'm.
I have no idea how much you're spending.
Face.
I know. I have no idea how much.
I don't. I 100% do not think you're accusing me of these things.
You might know something else, but Ian's little smirk with his fingers cute. It's very, very coy. I'm
a coy boy.
I'm trying to think if it was ever actually therapy for me. I just like going out to the flea markets and just searching for shit. There's like, it's like a treasure hunt. And for me, that's calm. It's fun, but it's also calming. I don't know. And it's a process. I mean, there was a time when I would not miss a Saturday or Sunday for a good year and a half. I would go both fucking days every weekend to the swap meet.
Right. I remember that. That was a long time.
I was a lot fucking crazier then, though. 6-7 years ago.
Debatable.
Than it was now. Debatable that I was more crazy? No, I was a lot more fucking crazier.
Okay, I'll give Pat some credit. He was a lot more crazy.
I was a lot more crazier then. A lot more crazy than probably 3 years ago versus now, or 4 years ago. But there was an adventure aspect to it. Because I'm not going to go...
That's why you put on the hat.
Well, keep the sun out of my eyes.
It was for adventure.
Of course, the local asshole collector's like, oh, Pat thinks he doesn't want people to come up for autographs. No, it's to keep the sun off of my awesome skin.
I thought it was because he was a hot grandma.
Well, you know, I used to also play bingo, but that's a whole other conversation. I did. I wrote a screenplay and a half playing bingo in New Jersey. I did. That's not even a lie.
We're unraveling. Pat, bring it home.
Never got a date playing bingo, but the old women love me. So anyway, there's definitely a lot of therapeutic stuff to it, but also it can be psychological, both good and bad. Last question.
No, we're done.
No, we didn't.
Oh, okay.
What right above that, Ian?
Oh, okay. This is for you. Jay Newton at the Ball's Wild?
The ball is wild.
The ball is wild. Pat, after listening to stories about your move and all the things you've acquired, possibly paring things down. Yeah, I know. That was bad. That was bad, and I'm just
not
owning
parrying
it.
like Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I'm just going.
In his Amazon series.
Do you have any collecting goals left, Pat? Heart the show. The big show.
Yeah.
The giant. Paul White.
I do have very few collecting goals left. Very few. Why are you looking at me like that?
Bring them up.
There might be an NES game or two I have left. Maybe. Maybe not. For North America.
As a joke? Or maybe for real.
Maybe I don't want to tip the collecting audience and jacking the price on the stuff I need. I do need a few more Turbo CD games. I could have ended that, and I could have ended that a little over a year ago, but me and the seller, we were really close on a price, but he would not come. I think. Okay, I was gonna.
You should have just done it.
In retrospect, I should have. The games have gone up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I was gonna give him more money than what he would have made after the fees on eBay. So I figured, why does he come down a little bit and give him cash and it's tax free? We were only off like a couple $100 in there.
Yeah, it was weird.
Why do you say that? You weren't there.
Because you told me all goddamn about it. You tell me about every part of your life.
Every part? Not every part, Ian.
Yeah, I can infer the rest.
What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean, Ian? What can you infer about me? Let's have this conversation. What can you infer about me?
It's just good radio.
What have I not told you about that you know about me? Let's have it out.
That's just good radio.
It's good radio. It is good. So let's continue this stream of thought. This line of reasoning.
You're made out of lemon sorbet.
All right, you're just being silly now. Mm-hmm. All right, so besides that...
That was actually the point.
Besides that, there's very few collectibles I have left. I mean, I have more shit than most collectors would ever want or dream of having, and I have to pare it down because even moving into Castle Country, there's not enough space for stuff. There's just not. Like I can have more game shelves. I have the room that will be the new game room is going to be 3 times the size of the old game room, if not 4. And that still would not be enough room for everything if I wanted to display every old game I had.
My question is, are you going to stop pretending like you like the N64 and just get rid of all that shit, or are you going to finish it? Because there's no reason for you to hold it in limbo.
Why? Because I have like I have like 150 games.
Yeah, that you will never, ever play.
I like Smash Brothers, original Smash Brothers.
Yeah,
I like
but
Mario Kart. I like GoldenEye a little bit.
So you need those 3. You are well known, much like me, to
malign the system.
Yes. So
No,
why do you have them?
Well, I don't need fucking Wayne Gretzky Hockey 99 or whatever the hell it is. But I mean, I would honestly, when it comes down to it,
I'm seriously asking, would you ever complete that system?
there's no fucking reason to complete the N64.
Okay.
It's trash.
So will you
It's
pare it
fucking
down?
trash.
Will you
That system. The system isn't trash. The library is trash.
So will you pare it down?
I would probably be more likely to pare it down. But I have all the rare games for it. I have Sculptor's Cut. I have Stunt Cars. So it would be just as easy to complete it.
That's why I'm asking.
The only thing I don't have is that bullshit Turok Rage Wars gray one that they sold. You know, the ones that exactly. It's not. It wasn't a retail release. The one that they upgraded. I could have got one when it came out. They're like, oh, $20 each. And some asshole bought like 100 of them.
Yeah, just stick one under my armpit. There we go. Just get them in all the spots, boys.
No, honestly, I'd probably pare down the N64 to probably 50 games. Like all the weird, uncommon, hard to find ones and like Mischief Makers and that sort
Keep
of stuff.
Snowboard Kids 1 and 2.
I actually found 2 at the swap meet.
Those are fun.
And keep like the Wave Race and that shit and Pilot Wings and
Classics.
Smash and all the Mario Party. Yeah, like 50. The fucking N64 library could have been 50 games and no one would have known any difference.
The Mario parties that were made by Hudson.
Even Cruising USA sucks on N64, and I love that arcade game. And that was and Hang Time, because Hang Time is the N64 Hang Time was arcade fucking perfect. And I told you how much I love that game. And Super Nintendo one's pretty good too, but the N64 one is really fucking good.
All right.
Really good. So that's not collecting goals. That's getting rid of shit. I guess that's collecting goals as well.
3.
And I need like maybe 35, 40
2.
Genesis games.
1.
We're done.
Contact.
You are very strange this podcast, Ian.
Yeah, I told you why. You know why. I did the best that I can.
You're the best I ever did. You're the best I ever did.
Can.
Go away.
I don't even really know who did that song. Hey, but it was a fun podcast. I think we had a lot of fun with our previous topics. I hope all of you listeners agree.
Well, what?
I don't know.
We're going to be at SoCal Retro Gaming Expo January 20th and 21st. Use code CU Podcast to save 15% on tickets. Go to SoCalRetroGamingExpo.com for more information. Check out our Patreon, patreon.com/CU Podcast. A certain NES guidebook is available at ultimatenes.com. Hey, if you want to broadcast, you can broadcast. But if you want to advertise on the CU Podcast, shoot me an email at cupodcast@thepunkeffect.com. I mean, that's it. Fruit, they loved us. We sold them a lot of bars.
A lot of fucking fruit.
We can sell a lot of your product and/or brand and/or YouTube site.
Chocolate.
Oh god, I gotta find those. Oh no, I do know where those are.
Yeah.
Unpacking sucks, and I have a lot more to go. But this has been a fun podcast, and I'm gonna try to hit Wendy's up before I go to sleep, and I'll be editing this tomorrow morning. And why did you just do that?
I wanted to see how it would feel.
That didn't feel good, did it? You just rubbed the
it felt like
pop
shit.
filter against your face.
Yeah, it was awful.
Any last words, Ian?
Good night.
For Ian Ferguson's good night. Pat Contry's good night. Oh shit! I forgot to tape SmackDown. Oh no.
Oh no.